Hi everyone, guess what? We're here inside Korum Ford with Jeff Beatty. Jeff, how you doing?
Nice seeing you, Travis.
Good to see you, sir. He's the general manager here, and his entire crew really follow his philosophy, and he's the one that invited us in. So we're going to talk to Jeff for just a couple minutes. So Jeff, tell me one thing. How long have you been the general manager of Korum Ford here?
Been going on about a year now, and I've been here for almost 15 years.
Wow. So you worked your way up through the ranks, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like any good captain, you know your entire ship from inside and out.
Right.
Excellent. See, got to know your entire experience. Now tell me something. We're about ready to go in and talk to your crew. And some of them know that we're coming and some of them don't, but more specifically, they probably really don't know what we're going to talk about yet with the Get Psyched program. What is it you're looking for them to experience from us, and what is your philosophy about how you create relationships here at Korum Ford?
Well, our philosophy here is not selling on a transactional basis. We try to create relationships. It's all about relationship selling. I know you and how you teach, it's all about getting psyched. And let me tell you, I'm hoping that you can get these guys psyched this morning.
Well, I know we can, and here's what we're going to do. What you're about to see is real. They know we're coming, and of course, our objective here is just to see how they handle a different point of view. Because remember, here at Get Psyched, we're not about teaching how to do sales or anything of the like. We're here about create connections. As you heard when we came in, we're going to show people that you can create connections in any environment, especially one when people think they're going to get sold something. You ready to go get them?
Let's go get them.
Guys, really great to be back with you guys. By the way, we didn't do that last year. If you guys did, I missed that. So that's kind of a cool to walk around in the morning, get some energy working up. What's the purpose of that?
Wake up.
Okay. What's that? Energy. Interesting. Where'd that come from? There's something right up behind me. I want you to the first line. What's the first line say? All great minds, right? If we don't have a great mind, how can you have a great action? How can you have a great attitude? How can we create anything if we don't have a great mind or great mindset? We agree? Last year we talked a couple things about how do we start to get ourselves in the mindset. Today, I'm going to introduce you to our real training. This is step one of the Get Psyched training. There's 21 steps in our program that's called Get Psyched for Life. And we actually teach you how it actually works from a cognitive psychology point of view, a subconscious automated point of view, and also more specifically, what makes us feel good about what we're doing. Not something that we have to do, but something we want to do. We can literally create what we want from a great mindset. Okay, most of us, when we talk about inside and out, we're afraid to find out what we're doing inside. It's called running to the roar. Part of what Get Psyched does and what we're going to do today is I'm going to introduce you to the first step of self-discovery. Now, most of you, obviously myself, I'm 40 years old, we're going, well, I know who I am. I've been around the block a few tricks. You know, I'm not as dumb as I used to be. I kind of get it. That's not what I mean by introducing you to yourself. Now, what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind a little bit, no pun intended. But let's agree that what your brain tends to do and what your mind tends to do are actually two different things. Now, I know that sounds synonymous, but they're not. Let me explain. Your brain is just an organ in your head, just like your liver, your stomach, or any other part of your body. It's just an organ. The mind is what runs the brain. Does that make sense? So a computer analogy. That computer over there is like your brain. It's hardware. But the operating system is what makes the brain run. And if there's something like a virus or the operating system is not clean, getting signals, messages from the mind to the body, we tend to screw ourselves up. Wouldn't you agree? In our world, it's called a limiting belief structure. For example, a sales goal for you might be, gee, I really want to push myself and do X number this month. But if you have a gnawing voice in your automated system, your mindset that says, gee, I just don't know if I can get there, or I feel a little bit desperate, or I'm trying to press or close a deal, you end up screwing yourself up in the very thing that you want. Wouldn't you agree? Yep. You become part of the problem. It's not the customer and it's not the product, it's us. Now that doesn't feel good because our ego goes, puh. I'm an accomplished operator. I know my stuff. I'm well trained. I've been in this business several years. I know what I'm doing. And our ego tends to jump in our way. The ego is attached to the brain. And some of the things you're going to learn today is to learn how to step out of those two things and really let yourself get into a flow state. Because how many of you agree with me that when you're in your peace state, you're in your comfort, your flow zone, the zone, it just pops. You don't have to work, do you? And then it becomes fun. Wouldn't you agree? Because how many of you actually really want to work? Be honest with me. Forget that Jeff's in the room, but how many really want to work? Does anybody really want to do that? I mean, that's why you're here, right? To work for 40 years, hope your 401k is still a 101k by the time you get out of it, and that's it? That's it? That's the whole purpose, right? No, there's more than that going on. What we're going to do today is introduce you to the first step on how that actually is working over here. Everything is a thought before an internal, external reality. I'll prove it to you. If I lop off your head, problem solved. It'll go around the block, catch you on the second turn. Try it again. If I lop off your head, problem solved, right? No more problems. Problem solved. Therefore, everything is a thought inside your brain, mind, before it becomes an external reality, either in your body or out here in the real world. You with me so far? If you can't think it up here and you don't believe it here, no one's going to follow you. You with me so far? You got to know it all the way through. If you don't believe it, how can we expect our customers to believe it? We're just BSing them, right? And who wants to be sold anything? Does anybody, even the salespeople, we don't want to be sold anything, and we know how the game works, right? What do we really want? What are you here to foster in Korum Ford? What's that? Happy customers. How about we want connection? Right on the right thing. We want a connection with the people, right? Because no one wants to be sold anything. Do you want to be sold anything? I don't either. In fact, I feel like I'm being taken. I don't get a good value. I don't feel like I'm getting results when someone's selling me something. But if I have someone I have a connection with, well, who buys cars from salespeople? Does anybody buy cars from salespeople? Do you guys buy cars from salespeople? You buy it from somebody you trust or know, correct. We want a connection. Well, we have to create the thought that we're looking to connect with them. Because if we're not willing to connect, how can we expect them to connect with us? Doesn't make sense, does it? So everything's a thought. What you're operating on is what's going to make it happen. Everything from the neck down is controlled from the neck up. Now, if you run into a guy like me who's a psychological profiler, and I used to help the police do forensic interrogation, I still do. So when I go into a room, I'm profiling you. I watch how you process information. I can tell if you're lying. I can tell if you're incongruent. I can tell if your conscious mind's saying one thing and your unconscious is saying another. That's based on this philosophy right here. Because the unconscious, as you learned last year, doesn't lie. It doesn't know how. When we embellish or we tell a little bigger story, the fish was this big, when it was really this big, there's another part of you that can't do that, which is called the unconscious mind. And if you get around someone like me who knows how to identify it, I know that when you're telling me something, the rest of you isn't congruent. And all of a sudden we lose that opportunity to connect because now we start building walls against each other. I get defensive, you get defensive, and we start playing chess. Has anyone ever played that game before? Guys, we're really guilty of it. We love to do it, especially if you're on a golf course. We love doing it on a golf course. Man, I'm a 5 handicap. Boop. Okay, good, there you go. Okay? So everything from the neck down is controlled from the neck up, meaning that our unconscious mind really is running the show. So if we don't have the thoughts that we want inside congruent, everything from down here is going to be different. Evidence of such, when you watch someone and if you ask them a very basic question, in our world, remember last year we did a conscious lockup? Does anybody remember that? Where you get the conscious mind to lock up for just a second and they go, yeah, I mean, someone remembers. Do you guys remember that? I know Patrick does. So we talked. Yeah, some of you might be there right now. When you get someone in a conscious lock, this is what's happening. The unconscious is searching for the program, and now you have an incongruency. Now, if you run into a guy like me and you're trying to sell me a product and I catch you in it, you've lost the connection. Now, I'm not saying anybody's lying or embellishing. I'm just talking about really reaching down into ourselves and really creating a congruency at such a gut level that we believe beyond belief. We know it. We feel it. And when we convey that to somebody else, they feel it. It has nothing to do with the product. It has to do with the connection. Does that make sense? Because the car is going to change from year to year. The service will change because the car changes. But the connection is the key. That's what keeps us going in the business together. That's why our relationship still works.
Okay, guys, let's go have fun, huh?
Thanks, guys. Well, everyone, you just saw us getting psyched over here. Jeff, did you have a great experience?
That was a great time. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, tell me one thing. Now going in and now having seen just step one of the Get Psyched program, what do you think that your people left with most, and what was the strongest thing that's going to impact them from here forward?
Well, the main thing is the connection. Getting that connection with people was got to be the number one priority, and that's really what we hoped for when we came in.
Well, thank you. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you, first of all, Jeff, for letting us come in here. We want to thank everybody here at Korum Ford, and more specifically, take the lessons that you saw here today from what this is about. Remember, it looks like it's a sales pitch, but it's not. It's about creating relationships. Drop the masks, drop the sales, and create the connection, and you too will be getting psyched. We'll see you next time right here. I'm Dr. Fox for the Get Psyched Show.